Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to another Lorcana deck test session with your boy, TheXploder. Today, we will be testing a deck that is inspired completely by a hilarious tech on the Lorcana Reddit. It is Emerald Steel, Cubby on location. Now, this deck is named specifically because this is entirely built around Cubby, the mighty lost boy. 4-cost inkable 3/5 for 1 lore with his ability, the Bear. Whenever this character moves to a location, he gets +3 attack this turn. It is not once per turn. So the whole idea of the tech is that we have Cubby out on our board alongside Map of Treasure Planet that makes it so that moving to locations costs 1 less, again, not once per turn, and then a boatload of locations that cost for the most part 1 to go to. So it's really cheap for Cubby to just flish and flash in between locations, become 9,999 attack, and just swing in for game. Or just swing in to basically one-shot anything out on the board. Pesky characters, pesky locations, pesky anything, they can't stand to the awesome might of the Bear, aka the goat of the deck, Cubby. But it's not all about Cubby, because we actually need to, play the game and win the game. So I've combined them with a few things, and I'll go over that with you. Starting off, we have 2 jobs for our characters. We have both the Flynn Rider, the Charming Rogue, and Mr. Smee, the Bumbling Mate. Now, the fun part with these is that we are mostly putting these in here because they're very early game 2 lore characters whenever they quest. Flynn Rider helps because if they get rid of Flynn Rider via a challenge, they have to discard a card. That's a plus for us. And if they get rid of Smee, it's going to be a bit of a challenge for them because Smee does have 3 attack on turn 2. Really nice, one of the few characters that does. Other characters with similar stat blocks are like Mim Snake, for example. So yeah, really great. Plus, the Smee getting 1 damage at the beginning of every turn when he's exerted can be circumvented because we are running a captain, and that captain is John Silver, the Greedy Treasure Seeker. This John Silver is our backup plan, or a very essential part to actually winning the game. We're playing a bunch of locations in order to utilize Cubby tech, so why not throw this guy in? He gets resist +1 and +1 lore for every location that's out on the board, making him an absolute unit. This has scared opponents on multiple occasions, and it works. Love him to bits. We're also running a couple of copies of Hey Hey Bumbling Rooster. The main reason why, if we're going second, for example, it's actually quite handy because he's on curve, and on top of being on curve, he quests for 2 lore, and on top of questing for 2 lore, if we are behind on our ink for any reason, he at least helps us get 1 ink into our inkwell, which is great. All he's here to do is just to help us that little bit, but because he's only really utilised if you go second or if you're falling behind on ink, we don't want to go into him all the time, hence why he's only a 2. The other character we have at 4 is Tinkerbell Giant Fairy. Not just is she great at taking out individual characters with her stat block, she quests for 2, and she deals 1 damage to every character upon coming in, and when she banishes a character via a challenge, she can deal 2 damage to another chosen opposing character, which makes her pretty beastly. The main reason why I'm running her though is because of her on-play effect dealing 1 damage to each opposing character, because that synergizes with Vision Slab. We're running Vision Slab simply to see if we can intimidate our opponents with all the different ways we can potentially pick up lore. All they need is 1 character on their side of the field with damage on them, not necessarily dead, but with 1 damage on them, and we just gain 1 lore. I have done tests with this deck where I've had Vision Slab, an opponent with 1 little bit of damage on them, and when it comes to my turn, that 19 rolls to a 20, and I win via Vision Slab. We're running it at 3 because we can consistently deal those odd little bits of damage here and there with Tink, and also with the likes of Avalanche, dealing 1 damage to each opposing character, and if our opponent is also playing locations, we can get rid of their locations while we're at it. Big plus. We're only running Avalanche at 3 however because it is uninkable and it's quite high for the cost, so we want to try and average it out as best as we can. But yeah, Vision Slab helps us out. On top of that, for the actions alongside Avalanche, we also have 4 copies of Improvise, more so just so we can draw a card. Plus that little bit of extra attack means that if Flynn Rider needs to get into something, he can. If Smee needs that little bit extra, he can. If Hey needs that little extra, you know, if someone just needs that little itty bitty push, Improvise can do it. And we draw a card, it's a net positive. We don't have a lot of card draw in this deck in general, so this is one of our go-tos just for card draw. Simple and easy. We also have Let the Storm Rage on at 3, very good. Damage, or just outright annihilate something, draw a card from it, fantabby-dozy. And 1 copy of A Whole New World. This is because in my deck in real life, I only have the 1 spare Whole New World because my other copies are in another deck which I'm hoping to do a video on in the future. So I wanted a way to still get my cards back if I ran out entirely. A Whole New World is definitely an option. I only run it at 1 because I only want it to work when it benefits me, which is very hard to do. So I only really want to play this if I have absolutely nothing in my hand and my opponent has a brilliant hand, or I have Tinkerbell out and I can just sing it. And at least I have my hand ready, potentially, to get into my John Silvers or whatever I need to get into. We're also running 4 copies of Fortisphere, again, more card draw, as well as setting up some bodyguards, you never know when you might need them. 4 copies of Map of Treasure Planet, because it is a core part of the Cubby tech. And as well as that, being able to pay 1 less for your next location is extremely handy, because we are playing a lot of locations that are 1-drops. So we could just use Map of Treasure Planet, play a 1-drop location, intimidate our opponent into trying to get rid of all the locations we have out. And speaking of those locations, we have our 1-drop locations, Deville Manor, that gets us 1, and the Bayou that gets us 1. The Bayou being interesting, because if we need to use the Bayou, we can quest at it, draw a card, then discard a card if we just need to get to cards that we need more than the ones we mulliganed into, which is absolutely fine. We're not going to use it all the time, and we're mostly going to use the Bayou just as a place for Cubby to go to and gain that 1 lore early on, but it works. Hidden Cove, it's a brilliant location to have in any deck involving Emerald. We're only running it at 2, however, and the main reason is we're running Deville Manor at 4 because it's got the best willpower at this early stage of the game and it's a guaranteed 1 lore at the beginning of your turn. The Bayou at 3 because yes, you do get 1 lore at the beginning of the turn, but it only has 3 willpower. And then Hidden Cove at 2 because we get 0 lore, but it has the best willpower of the 1-drops at 6. And we want to end our characters here. We want to move our characters here for free to get that +1 attack and that +1 willpower, just to keep our boys alive for that little bit longer. We're also running the 2-drop location Nottingham at 3, because Nottingham is just a very solid 2-drop location, and also running a couple of copies of Thebes, because if we are going to annihilate characters with Cubby, with Tinkerbell, potentially with John Silver, then at least we can get some extra lore from it, and Thebes has 7 willpower, so even if you're not taking advantage of Cubby tech to just outright annihilate something, having 7 willpower on the board on a location that players may just sleep on for the longest time because it's not giving you passive lore is great. It could just sit there, and as soon as you're able to move something into it for just 1, which means it's free thanks to Map of Treasure Planet, now all you need to do is just challenge into something and bing bang boom, that's 2 lore for you. Fantastic. And last but not least, I was thinking of using Fang, because Fang gives you 2 lore at the beginning of your turn, and on top of giving you 2 lore, then also allows you to have Ward and Evasive. Sounds like a great thing. But I've decided to go with Ursula's Garden for a little bit more control over my opponents. Because if I put a John Silver in here, I quest with John Silver, move him into Ursula's Garden, or he's already sitting in Ursula's Garden. Now, while I have an exerted character there, opposing characters get -1 lore. This now means the Vision Slab means the damage can't be moved, so my opponent's damaged characters are just going to sit there with those damage counters on them and they won't be able to go anywhere, so any healing tech or any tech to remove healing of any kind is just out of the question. And on top of that, Now we're pressuring our opponent even more because they cannot quest for one lore. I know it's only one, but that one can be a lot of their characters. Suddenly their 3 questers now turn into 2. Their 2 questers turn into 1, and their 1 questers just cannot quest anymore. And do they want a challenge? Do they risk taking that little bit of damage so that Vision Slab can give me lore at the beginning of our turn? Now you see what the deck is all about. Giving our opponent way too many options so that when it comes to us playing the game, we can play quite relaxed. Whilst when we set up our board and it comes to our opponent's turn, our opponent goes, well, what do I hit first? And that is what they have to deal with, not us. With that in mind, that's the lowdown of the deck. Now let's do some tests. We're going to be testing this out first against Brooms, because I use Brooms as my first pass for post, or so I say my first area of tryouts. If they can make it past Brooms, we'll see where they can go from there. Let's give it a test. And okie dokie folkies, we are here on Ink Table, ready to test things out again. I said this in my last video and I'll gladly say it again. If you want to see the Broom deck in action that I've built, that I'm testing these decks against initially, let me know in the comments. I am more than happy to show my Broom deck. I love Brooms to pieces. Now let's have a look at our mulligans here. It's not too bad. Don't want Ursula's Garden this early. Bayou early is absolutely fine. Don't want Avalanche this early either. And having Thebes this early is also quite bad, so we don't want either of Thebes. So we want to keep the Bayou, keep the Flim, and keep an Improvise just in case we need some card draw. And let's see what we mulligan into. It's okay. It's not the best, but it's okay. We get a Fortisphere for some extra draw, Avalanche for later on, then along came Zeus for later on as well, for some other pinpoint removal for big damage, which is good. Oh, we get another Flynn Rider as well. Excellent. Right, we're going to start off by inking Tink, because she's just miles away at this point. And since we're going against Brooms, I'm going to intimidate the Brooms. We're going to start off nice and early with the Bayou. See if we can just intimidate them into playing characters early on to try and get rid of our first location. There's the Bucket Brigade. Bucket Brigade doesn't hit anything because there's nothing in our opponent's discard, so not bad. Yes, Bucket Brigade will deal 2 damage to the Bayou, but it's fine. Bayou's here just to buy us time. Get it? Then from here, we drew into Cubby. I'm going to ink the second Flynn Rider and play out a Flynn Rider as well. So now we can end up getting some quite nice lore, even if they tackle into Magic Broom this, or so it says, they tackle with the Magic Broom into Bayou this turn, if they choose to do so. The Bayou only takes 2 damage, and we're good from there. They've actually decided to quest because of Sorcerer's Tower. Sorcerer's Tower is going to be scary, because that little baby is going to make it so that the Brooms can aggro. So our early game choice to play Flynn Rider is definitely sound. And I'm just going to quest with him straight away, get that to 4. Now, let's ink another card. Do I want to ink Cubby? No, you know what? I'm going to ink Improvise, because I'm not going to benefit from that card draw when I have Fortisphere, which is better because then I have Bodyguard as an option. So with 3 in our hand, I'm actually going to use Let the Storm Rage On and get rid of the Broom. Because then that means Broom takes 2 damage, Broom's gone, I draw a card, I draw into another Avalanche, and that's kind of want ink at this point in time if I could help it, but at least that can help me get rid of Sorcerer's Tower if it starts becoming a big problem. Needless to say, not too bad. Not too bad. We're on 4 lore versus there 2. Turn 4, is it Mickey? No, Let the Storm Rage On, there goes Flynn. That's fine. The fact that Flynn was able to quest once, I'm happy. I'm absolutely happy with that. And the fact that that's a Broom deck that has not played a Luminary Keeper once makes me happy as well. No Illuminary Keepers and no Fortispheres in his hand, obviously. Now we drew into Thebes. Will we benefit from it this early on? Probably not. I'm willing to ink Thebes. And now this means I do have a Long Came Zeus, but we have Cubby. It's time. So we're just going to play out Cubby. He's a 3/5 beat stick as well, so even if you play him on turn 4, the only thing that will viably get rid of him on turn 5, well, is nothing. The only thing that can reasonably get rid of him is Medusa, if you have multiple characters. If you don't have multiple characters, then sure, you do have Be King Undisputed to be careful about as well. And if your opponent is running Sisu on ice and lowering attack values, that could be a bit of a scare factor as well. Okay, now look, opponent has 2 Brooms out with Sorcerer's Tower, and that's a little bit scary. We don't like that. I did draw into the Bayou. Ooh, very nice. Now, I could go into the Bayou, but hear me out. I've got a plan instead. I'm actually going to ink the Bayou, and I'm going to play Avalanche, because then I can deal 1 damage to all the Brooms, and we can get rid of Sorcerer's Tower at the same time. So now the Brooms are damaged, their main source of a little bit of aggro is gone. It does heighten the idea of me potentially getting into them going into the Bayou, but heck, they need to use both of their Brooms just to tackle the Bayou, and Cubby could just be here being all chill. It's absolutely fine. With that in mind, I'm also going to quest with Cubby, because why not? I could move him into the Bayou, but it's only until the end of my turn when he gets the +3 attack. So I'm going to use that odd 1 for Fortisphere. Draw into, yes, Map of Treasure Planet. Yes! All I need. The best thing now is if I get a location next turn. Yeah, Bayou's gone. Bayou is probably gone because of the Swift Cleaner. That's a youch. No, he's gone in. Oh, he's decided to go into Cubby. Is he going to trade the Brooms for Cubby? No, let the storm rage on. Youch, Cubby gone. Cubby is gone. The Brooms no longer like Cubby. Now, where's Vision Slab? If I drew into Vision Slab, that would be excellent right now. Sad times. Didn't draw into it. Because I don't have any other locations in my hand, I'm actually going to ink the Map of Treasure Planet, just so I can keep up on curve that a little bit more. Tempted to actually use Avalanche here, just because it gets rid of the Bucket Brigade and the Swift Cleaner. I do have 6, however, so that's 3. I would need 7 to do both of them. What's my benefit here? I get 2 for 1, so yes, Avalanche is going to be better than Let the Storm Rage on. At least for now. So that'll dink, dink, dink. Bye bye Swift Cleaner and the Broom. Do I want to get rid of one? No, because that's my location. Thank you very much. And that'll do. That'll do. My hand's looking a bit dire, and this is where Brooms can start getting a bit scary with playing the Merlin Rabbit. And finally gets an Illuminary Keeper. Well done. Absolutely well done. Bayou is putting in the work. Being left there, casually getting 1 lore every turn. And this is where Ink Table starts being a bit of an inconsistency, because Ink Table plays cards in ways that makes you think, you would have probably gone with a Bayou super early on and not Cubby, right? But yet again, would a real person go after the Bayou and not Cubby? I don't know. This is why we set up multiple threads. Okay, I think in this case, I'm actually going to let the Storm Rage on the Illuminary Keeper, so that he can't benefit from any more card draw there. I draw into a whole new world. Okay, that's fine. We could probably do that next turn. I'll just play out Thebes, just so I have it out there. So now I have 2 locations. If I went into Cubby, at least now I'd be quite happy. I do need to be careful about when I use a whole new world, however, because Brooms is sitting on 5 ink, and I'm assuming that my opponent's hand doesn't have a Yensid and doesn't have a Mickey. Then, with that in mind, giving my opponent 7 new cards means they could drastically benefit. So maybe running off of top decks isn't a bad idea, just to pressure the Brooms that little bit. I do also have Map of Treasure Planet. I'm actually going to play that out, because having that out now means that all of our locations are going to be 1 less if I tap it, and moving to them, it's going to be really easy now. I'm kind of relying, drawing on, if I could get a John Silver or another Cubby, I'd be ecstatic. If I could get a Tinkerbell right now, wow, okay. Now the trick is here, my opponent will probably not bother about the Bayou or Thebes, but yet again, don't know. The AI just seems to prioritise questing high as fast as possible rather than getting rid of threats, unless they actively see a threat on your board as something that needs to be rid of right now. So this is the scary part. Bayou has been putting in the work. I'm sitting on 11 lore now. The problem now is our opponent's going to be able to quest for, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 next turn into 16. And that's if we're lucky and they don't draw into Sorcerer's Tower. If they draw into Sorcerer's Tower, play Sorcerer's Tower, move all these Brooms there, I just lose next turn. So, bit scary. I draw into Hey Hey. Hey Hey! It's not that great. Do I use Then Along Came Zeus to just stop some of your lore gains? Potentially. Absolutely potentially. I really don't want to use a whole new world because you're going to benefit from it way too much. Or maybe I do just play Hey Hey and have a character out and then make my opponent think, do we or don't we? It's a tough one now. Oh lord, it's a toughie. I'm going to risk it. Let's play out the Hey Hey. And then I'm actually going to move Hey Hey into Thebes. Just to prepare ourselves for the future. And we'll see how we go. If push comes to shove, I'll move Hey Hey into the Bayou, quest with Hey Hey for 2, and see if we can top deck into anything funky. But this is now scary. I've used 2 of my 3 avalanches, and avalanches are going to help me a whole lot. But we shall see. That is another industrial model. So you're probably just going to quest for everything now. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. The AI probably won't read Bayou and Thebes as a threat. We won't read Hey Hey as a threat either. This is the danger zone now because we really failed to get into locations early. Maybe I should have played that second Bayou early on and waited to play Cubby later. It's a tough one, and this is why we do tests. We do tests to see does it work, but on top of that, it's not just does it work, it's also a matter of can I do it? Because I need to be able to do the plays, pick the right things at the right time. It's good practice for me as well, you know? Okay, so this is interesting. We do have improvised, so I'm actually going to play it. Play out improvise, give +1 to Hey Hey. When we draw into a Deville Manor. Okay. Okay. So, will this help us? I doubt it. I'll play out Deville Manor and we'll also play out Along Came Zeus, and we'll deal 5 damage to one of his scary boys. Don't want to hit the rabbit if I can help it. And they're all 2 attacks anyway. I want to get rid of probably the aerial cleaner. I could get rid of the industrial models also, but they're all pretty much the same. They don't have any other effects outside of their own plays, but aerial cleaner gaining evasive on his turn. I know I don't really run evasives in this deck, but you never know. And then, hey, you're going to hit one of them as well. You're going to strike fear into probably this one. And because I'm a Thebes, once you're gone, I get 2 lore out of a deal. Muhaha. So that works out in my favour that a little bit more. Now, the only sad part is we still lose. Because our opponent can just quest with all 5 and go to 21. Which sucks. It does. Because we don't have any real form of pinpoint control. We've kind of shied away from having damage control. Like maybe a Grab Your Sword or a couple of copies of Grab Your Sword would be handy, but then we're bearing on the territory of a lot of uninkables, and that's the scary part. So it's more so finding the balancing act here, and I've made multiple versions of a Cubby deck, and I've yet to find one that fits that sweet spot, you know? I've yet to find the one that truly gets it. I don't want any of my uninkables in my hand early on if I can help it. As much as I have Cubby, getting Cubby this early on may be dangerous. So, let's do that. Let's only keep the Deville Manor and the Map of Treasure Planet. Now that is what I'm talking about. Beautiful. We can get a bunch of locations out. We've got Smee. We've got Ursula's Garden. I've got 1 Avalanche just to set us up I like this. I actually really like this hand. There's another Thebes. We don't need 2. Let's get you away. We'll start off by playing out Deville Manor. And because Deville Manor has 4 willpower, that's actually quite a lot. And if you're going against a deck like Brooms, for example, Brooms, very early on, can really only do 2. And even going into late game, their average attack value is 2. So it's going to take at least 2 Brooms to tackle into Deville Manor on its own, even in late game. Which is pretty nice. Okay, we get John Silver. Oh my god, yes. We actually got John Silver. Let's go. What don't we need? I might actually ink the other Thebes. Because I have Nottingham, and I'd rather start getting my passive lore on top of everything else. Maybe I even ink the Smee, and I circumvent Smee. Oh, but yet again, if I... Oh, the tough decisions. It's really tough now. Okay, hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. I think what we have to do... We're actually going to have to ink Ursula's Garden, because it's just way too pricey this early on. And to start with, we will play out... I'm actually going to play out Smee. We're going to just play out Smee. Main reason why I decided to choose Smee over another location is because John Silver isn't going to come online until turn 4 anyway to be able to quest. So, if we can build up our board with other characters to be able to quest as soon... Oh my god, I got a second one. Oh! This is going to be juicy. Real juicy. I'm actually here going to ink Map of Treasure Planet, because although it'll make my locations cheaper and moving there cheaper, I don't need it at the moment. At the moment, I just need to put out locations and John Silver. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to play out John Silver. So we have 1. He has +1 lore, +1 resist, which is very nice. And then going to quest with Smee. Smee's going to take us to 4. Beautiful. BEA. Beautiful. And because we have a captain out on our side of the board, Smee doesn't damage himself. So now we basically have a 3/3 request for 2 every single turn until our opponent deals with it, which is excellent. And if I can get the cove and move Smee into the cove, oh, insanity. There's Cubby. Cool. Do I need him now? Probably not. So again, we're going to ink Cubby. As much as we built the tech around him, we don't need him right now. Our hand demands we build around John Silver. So, this is what we're going to do. We're going to play out the John Johns. We're going to play out Nottingham. And we're going to play out Thebes. Now we have 3 locations. John Silver now quests for 4 and has resist +3. Madness, and I absolutely love it. And then what we do, quest with John, go straight to 9. Quest with Smee, go straight to 11. I love it. This is what we want. The effective trick is you work with what you draw into. If you draw into the tech to make Cubby go burr, fantastic. But if you draw into John Silver tech, prioritize John Silver over your Cubby. I know you want to swing big with Cubby, but trust me. Oh my lord. Double Let the Storm Rage on to get rid of Smee. Youch. But yet again, we can't do any damage to John Silver because of his resist +3, which is kind of cool. More card draw on their end with Mim Snake. Wow, Mim Snake may be a little bit dangerous because of what it'll be able to do to my locations. But look at that, we are now going up to 13 lore thanks to our passive, which is fantastic, and we finally get another Map of Treasure Planet. This is insane. I'm actually going to ink the second one, and we're going to be a bit more risky here. We're going to play out another John Silver so we can do another big water plays. And to make it interesting, let's actually move John into Thebes. And let's move the other John into Thebes as well, because if we do need to attack into anything, at least we can get that little bit of lore. But because that gives us 2, and at the moment we can quest for 4, it's way better questing than it is challenging. Straight to 17. Now this means my opponent has a quandary. They either get rid of locations, which means the amount of lore my John Silvers can get goes down. However, with 2 John Silvers on the board and 2 locations passively giving me lore, I've pretty much got game. I've pretty much got game now. My opponent can't do anything. So they're going to attack into Deville Manor. Snake tackles Deville. The Brooms not even going to. My opponent's probably just giving up at this point. There's an aerial cleaner. Mim moves into Sorcerer's Tower, I guess. Okay, cool. And that's it. We win. We just win. Because our opponent can't do anything now. So we go straight to 19. 1 quest with one of my John Silvers. Wins it for... And we get another one. We get another location. We go straight into Nottingham. Fantabby-dozy. Quest with one of our John Silvers. That's game. That's game! And look at our opponent's hand. Even though they had Let the Storm Rage On. Let the Storm Rage On would deal no damage to John Silver. Swift Cleaner would have been probably a good option to get rid of the locations, but can't tackle into John Silver with high levels of resist, so that's probably why they didn't do it. And then Strength of a Raging Fire. Yes, they had 4 damage on board, but guess what I had? 3 resist. So you would spend 3 or sing 3, which they couldn't do anyway because they just had 2 drops. So you would pay 3 ink to deal 1 damage. Youch! At least when I spend 4 ink to deal 1 damage, it's 1 damage to everyone, and it also gets rid of a location. That is the kind of play we want. Let's find out what deck I test this against next, shall we? Well, ladies and gents, I'm feeling a bit ballsy. After that win against Brooms, I'm feeling very ballsy. We are now testing the deck against the current ruler of meta. Or I say current, because... well, there is one card in this current meta king that is going to be hit by the errata bandwagon. I am against Emerald Steel discard. Ooh, I've gone there. Right, we're going to start off by inking a map of Treasure Planet and immediately put out Deville Manors. And we've got John Silver. This is perfect. This is actually perfect. So let's see if Emerald Steel discard is going to play like they should. There's Diablo. Classic play. Immediately shift into Big Diablo, which you probably shouldn't have done. See what I mean with the AI here? This is probably the perfect example as to the shortcomings of Ink Table. If you play against Emerald Steel discard, they would normally wait until their turn 2 to shift into this Big Diablo. The reason why, turn 2 they'll play Bucky, but all they need to do is discard an action card, shift into Diablo. Diablo's a Floodborn, you immediately discard a card. That's one of the techs. So it didn't quite work out. We are going to ink Ursula's Garden because it's just a little bit too steep for us at the moment. And we're going to set up our board. We're going to play out Flynn Rider just for some early questing goodness. That's what we want. And our opponent is going to want to exert Diablo all the time in order to make sure that Diablo just stays as a constant threat. That is enough. Are you going to do it again? Ooh! Wow. That is very ballsy of that deck. See what I mean? Now they're down to 1 card. They draw into 1 on our turn, but very, very ballsy. I don't know if I would have done that. Hey. Okay, we're on curve. I'm actually going to ink Hey Hey because Hey Hey's not going to see the time of day here. And we're going to play out the Johnny John Silver. Only goes for 1 so far, but that's absolutely fine. Because next turn we can just drop down 2 locations and start questing big. And there's Storm. Okay, 1 damage. But you get a card draw. This is very weird. You did not go into Bucky. Do you have Bucky? I don't think it has Bucky. Oh my god. Have we gotten the perfect opportunity? Has our opponent not got Bucky? They've decided to go with Deceiver of All, which is the card where if you sing a song with this character, it activates twice. So Let the Storm Rage On, for example, will now deal 4 damage instead of just the 2. Well, it deals 2 damage twice. Allow me to correct that. Right, we're going to do the same as last time. We're going to ink Cubby because he's just not going to be valuable yet. We're going to play out our 2 locations to flood the board. And we are just going to quest with Big John Stud over here, going straight over to 7. Beautiful. If I can draw into an avalanche, that will be beautiful right now. And see, our opponent's going to do the right thing, which is just striking at the locations. And Ursa's going to sing. It's not going to deal any damage to us, but that does mean 2 card draws, which is valuable. There's the Bucky. Okay, Bucky's online. This is the scary moment now. Bucky is online. We are now discarding cards. Flynn Rider's gone. But look at our board. Look at this crazy ass board that we have at our potential so far. DeVille Manor's gone. Sad times. Gonna quest up to 3. I am banking on an avalanche. I'm up to 4 ink. I'm happy with 4. If I can get an avalanche, I'll be exceptionally happy. We're up to 9. A little bit of aggro. There's improvise. I will gladly improvise for a card draw. It's a bit risky because you do have 2 Diablos. Maybe I shouldn't have improvised and I should have inked it instead. Out of curiosity there. But I'm going to risk it for a biscuit. Oh, it's worth it. We get a DeVille Manor. It's actually kind of worth it. Okay, quest immediately. Straight to 13. Yo! Can we beat Emerald Steel Discard with this stupid deck? Let's go! I want to see your comments going, let's go! Beat Bucky! I'm hyped for this now. I'm real hyped for this now. Kinda scared. Yep, I have nothing in my hand, so Ursula hits no one. You're gonna quest a bunch. Okay. That's fine. It's not a problem. You're not gonna swing into my locations now. Interesting. Very interesting. Are you gonna do the city play that the AI tends to do as well and quest with Bucky, I wonder? No! Okay, the AI's kind of improved, so it's not going to quest for Bucky now. Okay, now we go to 15. We're on 16. Do we have game? That's game, isn't it? Oh my god, that's game. Yeah, because we're on 16. John Silver goes for, what, 17, 18, 19? We've got game. Oh my god. Yeah! Yeah! That's... Yes! Yeah, baby! Emerald Steel, the Meta King, stands no chance against John Silver and his lovely locations. I love it. Fantastic. Let's see if lightning can strike twice. Okay, I kind of like this. Let's get rid of Cubby. We are definitely going with John Silver over Cubby for the time being. For this specific encounter. This specific matchup requires this. We're going to Ink Tink, way too expensive. What do we play early on? I think we just go straight into... Let's go straight into Bayou. Bayou's cheap. Bayou only has 3 willpower, so it'll be a go-to to attack in as soon as. So if I can just set it up now, that's better. First turn Peggy. No first turn Diablo. Okay. Now we've got to be careful about a turn 2 Bucky. But if he turn 2 Buckies, he will not be able now to do a turn 2 shift Diablo and immediately start discarding cards. So that works in our favour. Okay, turn 2, we will immediately go into Nottingham. Set up more locations. Just set them up. I may have to ink the Map of Treasure Planet next turn. Oh god, I'm in a zone right now. This is so intense. I hope you guys are enjoying this at home. I am hyped. I am hyped. Is this going to be the deck that all of a sudden counters Emerald Steel Discard in the last little stretch of Championship? I doubt it. Okay, there's Cubby. We're going to ink him again. We're going to play out our John John. John John's got 2. This is fine. Next turn we can play out Hidden Cove. Move John Silver into Hidden Cove. And now when he quests, he has +1 attack, +1 willpower, which makes him even more tanky, which is beautiful. There's just a raw play Diablo. Oh my god. Oh my god. I doesn't have Bucky again. There's no Bucky. There's no Buck. Oh my god. The Buck ends with me. Yep, we're going to ink a Map of Treasure Planet. We're going to play out the Cove. We are going to move John Silver to the Cove so we can benefit from it. And we're going to be a bit more cheeky. We're going to play out the Fortisphere, draw a card. We also get the Cubby tech. Let's go. Oh my god. Oh, this is the dream. This is the dream! It's playing out in front of my eyes! This is what we want, people! Okay. Let's not count our chickens yet, or count our Diablos in this case. Oh no. Oh no, our opponent just doesn't have it. No Bucky? All Diablo? All the time? No way. This cannot be happening. Every time. Can you go away? I do not want to restart my PC. Can't you see I'm recording here? City PC. No. Oh, okay. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. Here's what we're gonna do. Map a treasure planet. Card ability. Map a treasure planet. Play for free. Deville Manor. Oh my lord. Oh my lord. Let's do it. Quest 16. We win. We just win next turn. If we have all of our locations up, we win. If we quest with John Silver, we win. John Silver has +4 lore, +4 resist. This is insanity right now. We are beating Emerald Steel Discard. And we're mostly beating Emerald Steel Discard because you just did not pull into Cubby early enough. Oh, okay, Storm Rage on, no damage, draw a card. You're desperate for that card draw, I can tell. Oh my, no! You had nothing! The brick! The brickening! No! That's it! 1, 2, 3! Because Hidden Cove doesn't give us 1. What do we get? Smee. Oh. You know what? Just for a laugh. Just for a laugh, this will give me a chance to show you the Cubby tech. So we've got Cubby, multiple locations, and map of treasure planet, right? This is how it works. So if we move Cubby to the Cove, for example, he gets +3 attacks, and now he is even bigger. Even bigger because of the Cove. Move to Deville Manor. Gets more. Moves to Nottingham. Gets more. Move to the Bayou. Gets more. More. And you see where it starts to get mental. Yep, and that's only a few moves, and that's 31 attack. Plus 31 to his attack. He is a beast now. But who needs a beast when you've got a John Silver? We beat Emerald Steel. No Bucky. No Bucky in hand. All Diablos, all Aladdins. Let's review this deck. I'm ecstatic. Let's review this deck. Okay, so I'm trying to be as relaxed as I possibly can when I say this. I love this deck! It's so stupid. And I will be the first to say, this deck is stupid. It is so darn stupid. And 9 times out of 10, you're probably playing this for John Silver rather than playing it for Cubby. I know. You've seen the Cubby tech and how mad that can get. You've seen how mad John Silver can be if you just get a bunch of cheap locations out. It's effectively a John Silver location aggro deck at this point. With Tinkerbell if you just want to splash it out there, Vision Slab if you just want to get that late game. No, you have your late game options, effectively. But your early game plan is John Silver. Your mid-game plan is probably Cubby. Your late-game plan is Tinkerbell, Vision Slab, Avalanche, you name it. I love how stupid this deck is. It's so stupid and I love it. Let me know what you would do to change the deck in your eyes in the comments below, ladies and gents. I'm interested to see what you guys would do. Now, I kind of want to do a twist on this deck, specifically only helping John Silver. So I want to do a John Silver related location deck in steel, but probably with a different color. Probably not emerald, which means no Cubby, but I want to see where John Silver can go. Yes, you can do John Silver with Ruby in order to make pirates, and if you want me to make a pirate deck with John Silver, let me know in the comments. Basically, just let me know in the comments, what would you do with John Silver? And then if you want to challenge me to make a John Silver deck in a multitude of different colors, let me know and I will gladly try it. This is probably This is so much fun. This deck is so much fun. I highly recommend it. I'm going to put the deck list on my Discord server. Check out my Discord server for a chance to chill out with me and the rest of my community with Lorcana bits. We also delve into other TCGs and some other fun stuff in the world of video games, so come out and enjoy us there. You can also join me over on TikTok. I do a bunch of videos over on TikTok involving Lorcana. I go into more deck building stuff with the decks I build in real life, talking deck techs, and I also use it to document the locals that I go to every Thursday night. So if you want a lowdown as to how I do at my locals with these crazy decks that I normally take with me, that is the go-to place there. And on top of all of that, like, comment, subscribe right here on YouTube. I am back, baby. I am back in the swing of things. I'm loving being back on YouTube. You guys have been welcoming me back with open arms. I love you guys. I hope you love this video like I did. I am on a mega high right now. And let's keep the train rolling. Until next time, when we have another deck testing session or whatever else comes up. Have fun, stay safe, stay awesome, and most importantly, stay explosive. I'm going to be seeing you guys next time.